Hey everyone, Luther here with Bonafide Kayaks, and in this video we're going to do a walkthrough of the SS127. We're going to tell you what we did, why we did it, and what it's going to do for you out on the water. First off, the SS127 is what we call a utility kayak, and what that means is that it's made to fit a variety of fishing applications. Although there's no perfect kayak for every scenario out there, I think the SS127 is probably about as close as we've ever seen to something that really does fit a lot of different scenarios. And the reason for that really starts with the hybrid catamaran hull. What we needed to do with this boat to really work in all these different situations, we needed sometimes when stability was the most important thing on the boat. We needed sometimes where tracking was the most important thing on the boat, where sticking in the wind or the current. In our testing, we went through all these different types of hulls, all these different types of things, and we measured. We checked speed, stability, wind resistance, current sensitivity, all these different things. And at the end, we took that data, we massaged the shape until we got what we have here. And basically, in the bow, you've got something fairly close to a traditional mono keel. As it goes back, you're going to see it transitions rapidly to these pontoon hulls. That gets your buoyancy out there in the front. That gives you that nice wide buoyancy footprint that gives you the stability on the water. By getting a lot of buoyancy where we needed it, we didn't need to get a lot of kayak out on the water. So even though the SS127 is incredibly stable, it's only about 33.5 inches wide, so much narrower than you would expect for something with this level of stability. The other thing we did is we wanted to make sure that the deck layout achieved what we call ultimate fishability. And what that means, fishability is about the things are there that you need when you need them. They work the way that they're supposed to. And ultimate fishability to us was executing on every detail the right way. And to do that, we knew that we were going to have to build a lot of custom components. We're going to have to fit things specifically for the purpose and specifically for this boat. And that's what we did. If you look at this kayak from bow to stern, everything on this boat was designed from the ground up. So let's start with we're just going to kind of work bow to stern, talk through the main features, the main highlights, and make sure you subscribe to this channel, because if you want to know more about any of the things that we're discussing here, we have very, very specific videos for each one of these that goes into a lot more detail. So the first thing we're going to take a look at is the fat grip handles. And we call it fat grip because we put a lot of surface area on these handles so that when you grab the kayak, the weight is distributed over a larger surface area. The other thing you'll notice is that the handle is the closest thing to your body. And the reason we did that is because when you're carrying a kayak where you have to reach inside and the boat is kind of beating up against your body, number one, it puts you in a really awkward position to carry it. You know, for your back and whatnot, to kind of lean over and carry it can be very awkward. But it's also uncomfortable. So by having the handles as the closest thing to your body, you can carry the boat in a very natural position. You don't have to lean out, and it's not beating you to death on your way to the water. So that's fat grip handle. Next thing we have is kind of this paddle landing area and rod staging area in the front. And kind of the star of that show is the boss strap. We call it the boss strap because it's got little bosses raised on the top and on the bottom. We also call it the boss strap because it manages things. It manages your paddles, it manages your fishing rods, it manages your parking pole. You can lay things on top, keep them from rolling off, or you can tuck like a paddle blade underneath on the middle. You got a soft landing pad there, make things nice and quiet. You're gonna hear quiet a lot as we talk about this boat. And then you've got grooves on the sides that you can slide a fishing rod or parking pole or even an anchor line through if you want to have a drag anchor off the front of your boat. There's 100 things that the kayak anglers out there are going to use it for that we didn't even think of. There's a lot of versatility built in there. Moving on back, the next thing we've got, oversized forward hatch. One of the cool things about this boat is the fact that, you know, when you're out on the water, you want to be able to open the hatch from the cockpit side. But when you're loading rods, it's a lot more convenient to open it from the other side. So we created what we call double header hinges that are releasable hinges. So they function as a hinge and as a latch, enables you to open the hatch in either direction or open both of them, remove the hatch altogether to clean your boat or whatever. Coming on back even farther, the next thing we run into is some Yak Attack gear tracks. These are the top loading gear tracks, so you can load the T-bolt from the top or from the end. We've got two about 5 inches long here in the front, kind of facing the bulkhead, and then down the sides of the gunnel we have a couple of 12 inchers as well. Just below those 12-inch gear tracks, you'll see the foot brace system. First thing, extruded aluminum foot brace track. No floppy foot braces. When you brace, you're gonna actually brace. Next thing, that it's just so super cool. So to adjust it, it's just a squeeze and slide, pretty standard. But what we're really excited about is if you wanna use a rudder with this boat. You know, we've got some places for rudder lines and things to come out, but we didn't wanna have to throw away this beautiful foot brace system to use a rudder. So we designed rudder functionality, sliding functionality right into this foot brace. You just flip a lever. Now you're in rudder mode or trolling motor mode where you can use these things as sliders. And what that, aside from giving you the dual mode of conventional foot brace versus rudder foot brace, it also presents some interesting opportunities, like, for example, you could put both of those, plant both of those with a rudder down, plant both of them forward, lock them in place, and now you've basically got a skeg in the back of your boat. I think this is one of those things the industry will decide what it likes about this and find some really cool ways to use it, but it's brand new subject matter, so it's nothing out there but opportunity for it. To go back to lock mode, flip it back, locks in place, really high resolution, about 1/2 of an inch between steps, so you can always get the position that you're looking for. Right between that, dry pod. This is basically dry storage for casual water. It's not intended to be submersible. It's not designed to be submersible, but if you catch a wave over the boat, or you're out there in the rain, or whatever's inside of here is not going to get wet. It's gasketed storage. So you've got these 2 clips on the side. You can open those up or remove those, open up the lid. Once you get inside here, you see a nice deep well in the middle, perfect for the batteries that a lot of people use for fish finders, which makes this a great place to rig your fish finder. Or if you're not using a fish finder, or you use something like a cell block for off the side transducer deployment, you got a really cool storage pod here. It's also removable. If you undo the latch in the back, you can take it out completely. Presents some interesting opportunities. For example, maybe having a couple of extra pods that you can rig up for different applications. One for a fish finder, maybe one for some, fishing gear for bass fishing, one for, something else, I don't know. But I'm sure a lot of people are gonna find some cool uses for having configurable pods. So while we're here, let's take a look at the deck. You've got the traction padding that comes standard on the SS127, premium traction padding. Really nice layout, looks great, very comfortable on your feet. It's gonna help this boat be a lot quieter. Moving on back, right under the seat, you've got the junk drawer. This slides on a Yak Attack gear track. Used a polymer gear track, so it's got a nice smooth slide. The T-bolt slides in there nice and smooth. Loosen up the knob, we can slide this thing forward. It's gonna come forward until it stops with the little rubber stopper here. That's to keep it from accidentally coming out of the track. You have to fumble with it to get it back in when you're on the water. But if you do wanna remove it, you just pop that little stopper out, you can take it right out. So this is a good place to throw your lures throughout the day, things that accumulate out of your tackle boxes while you're out on the water, things that you might not want to put away until you rinse the salt water off. Whatever it is, gives you a good place to accumulate those things, or just to rig out before you go out on the water to really set it up with all the things you want quick access to. Really super cool, easy access functionality. Keeps you from always having to go to your crate for everything you need. And then right above that, you've got the high-rise seating system. This is the highest perch on a fishing kayak, I believe. You can sit in this seat very comfortably. You can sit side saddle very comfortably. You don't have to worry about the boat being a little bit tippy because you're up that high, because the boat is just that stable. Very comfortable seat, nice little relief here in the front, take some of that pressure off the vessels in your leg. We've got some straps here that you can tighten up to give yourself more or less lumbar in the back. Same thing for the bottom. You can soften it up, you can firm it up by tightening the straps. Premium fabric, breathable fabric, something that's going to be super comfortable. And we just, just in general, shape and ergonomics was a big thing to us for this entire boat. And what we achieved with the seat is pretty incredible. The seat itself is very comfortable, But what may be even more important than that is the seat height. If anybody who's ever experienced lower back problems knows that, having your legs straight and lifting them up, puts a lot of pressure on that lower back, puts a lot of pressure on your sciatic nerve. And even people who don't have back problems will get back fatigue from the same thing. The cool thing about setting up so high is you can sit with your knees bent. When you sit with your knees bent, it relieves all that pressure. I personally have some lower back problems. I've fished for 3 days straight, long days this year in this boat, in this seat, and normally I would have been a complete wreck. I was in great shape. So super comfortable seat, very ergonomic. And then again, because you're already up high, going to a standing position is that much easier. You don't need a pull-up strap. You put your hands down here and help yourself a little bit if you want to, but going from sitting to standing on this boat is really easy, as is probably more importantly, going from standing to sitting. That can actually be the more difficult one at times without just kind of plopping down in the seat. So we've got the super high position, but we've also got a low position. So if you want a little bit lower stance, you just pull the string right there. That collapses the back legs. We call this the seat rack. It's got a little lever. You slide that lever forward, it releases the seat bar, and you just reach down and fold that front leg under. Drop it into the trim position you want. We've got 3 trim positions. Give you the ability to kind of dial the boat trim to where you want it. So you dial to the trim position you want, and then you re-actuate the seat rack. She's secure, not going anywhere. What I like about it, if you really make the effort, you can do this really quietly. Now I'm going to go to the high position here. Again, pull it forward, unfolds the back legs, reach down, unfold the front legs yourself, and there you are in the high position. Anyway, really, really big highlight of this boat is the seating, the high-rise seating system. And then right on the either side of that, you've got the perch pads. If you're really nimble, if you like to sight fish, you want to get that little higher vantage point, you can basically, from the seated position, just step right back onto the perch pads, stand up, fold the seat down in front of you. Now you're in a position, you're really high, you've got a wide stance, which is actually very stable, makes the boat feel really, really comfortable. Also makes it feel really comfortable to maneuver it a little bit if you want to lean steer or something like that. And then the back of your seat becomes a perfect park for your paddle blade. So you tuck your paddle into the boss strap in the front, let the blade lay on top of the seat in the back. It's right there within easy reach. I've spent quite a bit of time stand-up fishing out of this boat from the perch pads, and the ability to switch back and forth from a paddle when I need it, put that down, grab my rod, cast that, because you can do the exact same thing, rod tip in the boss strap, rod butt on the seat. Being able to switch between those two without even really bending over hardly is really, really cool. So perch pads, something not everybody will use, but the people who will use it will absolutely love it. Moving on to the tank well, we've got an oversized tank well. This is going to give you enough room. You can even put a larger cooler than what you would expect to be able to fit into a kayak back there. It's made to fit some of the more popular coolers out there. Perfect fit for the Yak Attack Black Pack, whether it's fit long ways or cross ways. People like to rig those both ways. This works really good for that. And then we didn't want to just have this crisscross bungee because sometimes that gets in the way. But we wanted the ability to do that if you want to. And we also wanted the ability to hold things down a little bit better. That's always an issue when you put a black pack or whatever in your kayak, is how do you hold it down? So we developed this cool little thing. It's a really simple part, but it's called the Omni Hook. And what it is just a little hook that's made to grab the ledge of something. So you put your black pack in here, you can pop that right over the edge of the black pack or in the little grooves on the end of the rails of the black pack. You can also hook it on the edge of a milk crate, 5-gallon bucket, whatever you want. It's just really convenient. And then if you want to just go to more traditional crisscross bungee because you want to stick some stuff underneath of it, you can use an Omni Hook to just hook your bungee up. That way you're good to go. Right at the rear of the tank well, you've got the access plate. This is not intended to be a hatch. You need a screwdriver to take that off. This isn't a real practical place for a hatch anyway. But we did know that people were going to need to do some rigging back here. You need to install an anchor trolley or rudder lines or whatever it is. You want to put a power pole off to the side and you want to put some nuts and washers or backing plate behind there. The access plate's going to give you the ability to do all of those things. Also on the sides of the tank well here, you're gonna see, again, top-loading Yak Attack gear tracks, a little bit longer than the ones you have in the front. Give you a little bit of positioning options for Carbon Pro camera mounts, things like that. All the way back in the stern here, we've got the hole pattern for the power pole mounting plate. The inserts are already in the boat. You can just drop your power pole on there, put your 4 screws in, you're good to go. Rudder pin in the middle. This kayak is rudderable. It's not rudder ready in that it doesn't have lines pre-installed, but it does have all the drill points and places marked for you. So if you want to put a rudder in, it's going to be really easy to do. Continuing on back in the rear stern handle, this is, again, probably said this 3 times now, but one of the coolest features on this boat, flip out stern handle. You know, stern handles are always a difficult thing because you need to be able to put a power pole there. You need to be able to put a rudder there. You need to have all these possible options, but you also need a way to carry the boat, and getting that handle out of the way doesn't always make it the easiest to access or the easiest to carry. Putting it off to the side, putting it way far forward, all of those things can create ergonomic challenges. So we took a look at that problem and decided, you know what, let's just make the handle flip into the back of the kayak. So we put a nice recess back there. We put a bungee that gives us the spring load that forces the handle to the down position. But when you want to carry it, you just grab the handle, you lift it up, you carry the boat. Again, the handle's fat grip, oversized handle, got rubber, non-slip, comfort grip on the bottom. It's the closest thing to your body when you're carrying the boat. Really important. It's also wide enough that you can get 2 hands on it. So if you do have a black pack loaded with all your gear and you got all your stuff in the boat and you're carrying this super heavy boat, you can go ahead and grab the handle with both hands. Makes it a lot easier. So that's a quick overview of the SS127 bow to stern. Again, make sure you subscribe to our channel. We've got way more detailed videos on all of these different features, and we're sure that you're going to find out everything you need to know, and you're going to learn why we created the ultimate fishability with the SS127.